structure of how Proposition 8 was aligned. Our bishop early on knew how we felt about Proposition 8, and but specifically wanted us to come to the training session, and he wanted us to be involved and to know what was going on. I don't know that he knew that I was going to be doing a Sunstone presentation on it, but he's not a bishop anymore. So here's the ecclesiarch. There are two arms. They wanted to keep them separate, but as you can see down at the bottom level, the zip code supervisors, I have yet to hear of any zip code supervisors who were non-Mormons. There might have been some, but I have yet to hear of that. And all of the people who volunteered at protectmarriage.com volunteered and were assigned, because of where they lived, they were assigned to a zip code supervisor. The zip code supervisors reported to their regional directors on the grassroots arm, but they were all called by their bishops. So you can kind of see it's kind of squishy down the bottom, but this is the chain of command. Some more highlights. The Divine Institution of Marriage was released. That is an unsigned article. We have a pretty good idea of who wrote it, but I haven't been able to confirm it from two sources, so I'm not going to tell you what I heard. But you would be interested. Keep watching that Mormons for Marriage. When we get it confirmed, we'll put it up there. So there's some question about the Lane Greener did 9 talking points. That was a signed article by Brady Magazine. Shortly thereafter, we had the six talking points, and it was variously attributed to Elder Lawrence and President Lawrence and Gary Lawrence, the pollster. And we had a Mormons Parade. Let me talk a little bit about that. That is our little website that tracked Mormon donations. And without that site, nobody would have known that all of this surge of donations was coming from Mormons. When Proposition 22 happened, I looked back on the Secretary of State's website and realized, oh, here are these people, and oh my goodness, my former bishop donated $50,000 for Proposition 22, and his friends donated $8,000 more. I thought, well, gosh, I wonder if anybody I know is donating money to Proposition 8. So we looked on there, and I found a few people, like all of the people in who showed up on the donation slips that were in my state, in my former state, except for 2 people were Mormons. And so I said, gosh, I wonder if this is happening anywhere else. So I talked to some friends, and we mushed it around, and we thought, this is probably news in Los Altos, California, that everybody except for one person who donated money to Proposition 8 is LDS. And so as it kind of got squished around, we sent out some feelers and decided that there needed to be a website up here that was Mormons Parade. And there were several people again who were involved with this website, and we were tracking the donations. And of course, as you know, that word got out. And for good or for ill, people became aware that Mormons were asked to donate money. Now, there are Catholics were asked to donate money too, and that has not been publicized as much. A lot of questions at Mormons Parade was, well, where's Jews Parade and where's Catholics Parade? I'm like, well, I'm not Catholic. They can write their own website. But there was one more famous one that came up. There's this ice cream parlor in Sacramento, and they donated. The family that owns that donated about $40,000, and they got boycotted, and the father said, well, I'm only donating this because my Catholic bishop told me that I really needed to donate and support this money, and please, what are you going to do? Well, the day of the boycott, they had so many Yes on 8 supporters there that they had the best business of the day. So, it goes both ways. The blacklists are whitelists, the whitelists are blacklists, and it kind of goes back and forth. Okay, we can go to the next one. Yeah. So there a few things. We had the satellite broadcast, we had ads, we had a couple of videos that were on Mormons for Marriage that were requested by their authors to remove them because their bishops asked them. They said, please take your videos down, and they talked about it, and they said, yeah, we want to keep our status in church, so they took those videos down. Go ahead to the next one. So there are protests, there was a complaint filed with the PPC. Go ahead to the next one. This is where the timeline sites are. The easiest one to remember is Mormons for Marriage, and at Mormons for Marriage we have links to all these other websites. So go ahead to the next one. These are all a bunch of the LDS propagate-related websites. We've kind of put this together to give an idea that the internet is a community, and as it has become an interesting and important community. Go ahead to the next one. So remember moderate codes. So the last one, the first one was pretty typical. Yes, I'm Prop 8, it's what I believe. Equality and or fundamental rights have nothing to do with it. So we'll go ahead, go really quick to the very last slide. And it talks about some of the things that are online right now that are going on. We've got a few petitions circulating right now. One of them is to take the word marriage out of all California law, replace it with domestic partnership. You can sign that. You can find somebody who's having that. The other petition is to repeal Proposition 8. And it specifically says, it fights a couple of the arguments. One specifically says that the amendment will not be interpreted to modify or change the curriculum in any school, and it clarifies that the initiative is not intended and shall not be interpreted to mandate or require clergy of any faith or church to perform a service or duty inconsistent with his or her faith. Each of these petitions needs just under 700,000 signatures by early to mid-August, and I think that there are people in attendance today who have petitions to sign. So if there are, they can stand up at the end, and we'll let the party go and do this really cool thing.